welcome to today's Sunday meal prep video. I'm glad that you joined me today. For the meal plan today, we are making lasagna, which Charlie is having a regular lasagna, and I'm making Zucchini Boats lasagnas that I've made before. And with that, we will have some of our 2-ingredient garlic rolls. And then I'm also making some shredded chicken in the crock pot with some salsa, and we're going to use that to make some taco bowls this week. So kind of a different little twist on our taco bowls. But both of those are pretty easy meals to make. As you can see behind me, Charlie has already done his prep work, which he did film. I know y'all like to see him doing his chopping and stuff, so we've started including that in the video because he actually does quite a bit of work just while I'm getting ready, trying to get everything prepped for me. I'm glad that you joined me today. If you are new here, please go ahead and click that subscribe button down below and become part of the family, and also hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any time that I upload. I upload 3 times per week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and on Sundays typically. So anyway, let's jump into the video. Okay guys, here are the fruits and veggies that Charlie is going to prep today. We have my cantaloupe, my pineapple, the bell peppers that we will just dice up, my tiny little tomato for my sandwiches, and then we're just going to wash the zucchini. And then usually I do the blueberries. I'd like to let them soak for a little while in the vinegar and water. But anyway, not that much prep for him today. He doesn't have to prep any chicken or anything because we're going to do some chicken in the slow cooker. And then the other is just ground turkey and ground beef for the lasagnas. So I'm fixing to head to the shower and let him get started prepping this stuff, and then we will cook. Okay guys, so before I jump in the shower, I am going to go ahead and put in the salsa chicken that we're going to make because I'm going to let it cook in the slow cooker. I have 4 chicken breasts that we're going to do today, and they are mostly de-thawed. I kind of have them sitting in some warm water. We pulled them out last night, but they were still a little bit frozen. But anyway, it's a real simple recipe. Basically, her recipe calls for a pound. This is a Skinny Taste recipe, which I will leave it linked in the description box down below. But it calls for a pound of chicken breast, which I'm just using 4 chicken breasts. I'm not going to measure it out since I am on the blue plan, but if you are on the green plan, you would definitely want to measure that. And then half a teaspoon, she said, of kosher salt, which I just have regular salt here. So I just used a half a teaspoon of that, which actually I think I probably used a full teaspoon because I know I have more than a pound of chicken. 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground cumin, which I just went ahead and did 1 full teaspoon. It calls for a pinch of oregano, which I just did a half a teaspoon of that. And then it said black pepper to taste, so I just did, I think, a half to 3/4 of a teaspoon of the black pepper that I have here. And then you season up the chicken, put it in the slow cooker, and cover it with some, she says, chunky salsa. But we decided to try this Frontera cilantro jalapeno salsa, so just to give it a little bit of a kick. And we were going to use this to make our taco bowls. So we'll have the chicken with the corn and the black beans, and so it'll be a new little twist on our normal taco bowls. I'm going to get my chicken in the crock pot, which I will show you, and get it seasoned up and get the salsa in there, and then we're just going to turn her on and let her cook all day. Okay guys, I'm going to try to get this seasoned up real quick. And sorry if you hear my dishwasher. It is literally the loudest dishwasher in the world, and Charlie didn't realize I was going to put this on before I jumped in the shower. So we are just going to season this side and then flip the chicken breast over and season the other side and dump the salsa in here. That gets all of the seasonings, and then I'm just going to put this whole jar of Frontera cilantro jalapeno salsa on there. I can't say that word. And hopefully this turns out good. I've never tried this salsa, so we shall see. And then I'm going to just turn it on high for, I just always put it on 8 hours. I'll check it as the day goes along, but you know, they're still partially frozen, so I want to make sure that they are cooked through and through. And put my lid on, and then we will be back later to check on it. Okay guys, so first of all, I'm going to wash the blueberries and get that ready and everything, and then let those soak for a bit, and then I'm going to insert the footage of Charlie doing all his prep work, and then we will put together the fruit bowls. So if you are new here, I always like to wash my fruits and veggies in just white distilled vinegar. No, they do not taste like vinegar, but I just use my OXO salad spinner. I'm gonna zoom you down here into the sink, if you can see that. So anyway, I'm just gonna take my blueberries, dump them in, fill it up with water, put a splash of vinegar in, and let those soak for a little while.
From my window.
Y'all, this is one of my little pet peeves on blueberries. I don't know if you can see that with the little end sticking out. So I'm gonna have to go through and like pluck those out because I don't want those in all my blueberries. Publix or whoever packages these, y'all need to do a little bit of a better job. Whoops. Anyway, so that's got tons of water in it. So those are going to soak for a little bit. Maybe some of those little things will fall out, and then we will wash it good. And I'm going to try to pluck as many of those out as I can because that's super annoying. But I will be back after Charlie's prep, and we will put together the fruit bowls.
Sun's coming up like the day before. You're like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon. Kenny G saxophone. We'll order in a bunch of food. I'll put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Yeah. Shut the lights, go infrared. We can spend all day in bed. I'll get the wine.
Okay guys, I have my cantaloupe, pineapple, and blueberries ready. So we're gonna throw these fruit bowls together real quick. I have my lunch cooking in the oven, which of course is one of my 4-point pizzas. So I wanna get this put together before it finishes up.
At all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all. But why didn't you call?
Okay guys, here are the completed fruit bowls. I have 7 bowls of fruit, I have 7 yogurt bowls, and then I also have a ton of diced peppers for the week, which I will use most of these today because I will go ahead and prep my scrambled eggs for the next 5 days. So I'll use the bulk of that today actually because I am completely out of my other one. And then what I have left I will use next weekend for my eggs and my pizzas and stuff. So anyway, got this done. My pizza's done in the oven. I'm going to eat that real quick, and then we're going to jump in and make some lasagna zucchini boats. Okay guys, I'm getting ready to start on the zucchini boats, the lasagna stuffed zucchini boats. And for this you need zucchini, obviously. The recipe that I got is from confessionsofaFitFoodie.com. Sorry, I couldn't read that. And I will have the original recipe linked down below. Of course, I am going to modify it so that it makes it lower in points. Instead of the Italian poultry sausage that it calls for, I'm going to use just 99% lean ground turkey breast. It also calls for 2 cups of baby spinach, which I forgot to put in my grocery order yesterday. So Charlie is making a run to the store to get that. Which he also needed some of his Pop-Tarts because he didn't tell me that he was out of those again. So anyway, he needed to go, and we need an egg, half a cup of mozzarella cheese, which I'm going to use my fat-free mozzarella cheese, and then half a cup of Parmesan cheese. I need to look in the app to see what I used the last time because I don't think that I used that much of Parmesan cheese. before, and then 1 1/4 cups of homemade pasta sauce, or no sugar added jar like the Rayo's. I am going to use the Rayo's Arrabbiata, which Charlie used half to make his lasagna. He's already put his lasagna together, and then he saved me the other half of the jar because this is a 24-ounce jar, so he said he measured out 12 ounces and left the other 12 ounces for me. So I will plug that in and see how many points that ends up making this. But the only thing that's going to be points is obviously the cheese, the cottage cheese, and the marinara sauce. So we shall see. It is a low carb lasagna stuffed zucchini boat recipe, and I'm obviously not doing low carb because I'm doing WW, but if you are doing low carb, this would be a great way to save on some carbs and have lasagna. And I do substitute zucchini in for my spaghetti, and I've had these 2 or 3 times and they're delicious and it is filling. I actually am making 6 zucchinis, so each night I will have 2 whole zucchinis to eat, which seems like a lot, but that's the way I like to do my food. I like to eat a lot in volume of the vegetables that are 0 points, and then just have a little bit less stuffing inside, if that makes sense. But anyway, I'm gonna, first of all, you have to preheat your oven to 400. We're going to, sorry, I didn't mean to hit that pan. First of all, you have to preheat your oven to 400 and get your zucchini ready. We kind of scrape the insides out, and then we roast those for 10 to 15 minutes with just some pink Himalayan sea salt on them, I think, and then we will take them out. While those are in the oven, we'll brown the ground turkey and get all of that ready and stuff. Charlie should definitely be back before I need the spinach. So anyway, we're gonna get started and wish me luck. Alright guys, so I'm gonna get ready and prep my zucchini. I probably have way too much zucchini because normally they're small zucchini, so I kind of got double of what I needed, but I'm gonna go ahead and cook them, and if it is too much, oh well, it will be alright. So I'm just gonna cut the ends off each one and just kind of split it in half like that, and then scrape the insides out, which I need something to put that in. And the recipe says that you can keep this and freeze it and use it in something else. I would never do that, so this will just be thrown away for me. So kind of just like that, it just makes a little boat. And I have a pan here that's just lined with foil, and I've sprayed it with some extra virgin olive oil spray. So I'm just gonna line these up, and then we're gonna sprinkle them with some pink Himalayan sea salt and put in the oven. It says for 10 to 15 minutes, so I'll probably just do the full 15 minutes. See, they do make perfect little boats. They're cute. Okay, so I'm only gonna use 4 of those because they're really large and it's already filled up my pan. So that will basically be 1 1/4 pieces of zucchini each night, which I think is plenty. Again, I went ahead and ordered 6 of them just because the produce has been a little bit on the wimpy side throughout this winter. But I do have 2 of the smaller zucchini left, and so I will try to use these in something next weekend or for next week's meal prep. We'll see. I'm just going to put those back in the fridge for now. So I'm going to clean this up. Well, actually, let's go ahead and get these in the oven. So it says to sprinkle with some pink Himalayan sea salt. So I just have some in this little thing here, and I'm just going to just do a little pinch over it. And then these are going to go in for about 15 minutes at 400 degrees. And then we'll get started browning the turkey. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started browning the ground turkey. I'm just going to spray my skillet with some of the extra virgin olive oil spray and get my turkey in there. And this will take a little bit to kind of get warm, but I am going to go ahead and season it up. The recipe doesn't say to season it, but it says to use the Italian poultry sausage. So I need to season this ground turkey for sure. So what I'm going to do is, of course, add salt and pepper, and then I'm going to do just a little bit of ground cumin and chili powder, which of course y'all know I love those. And then to kind of give it that Italian flavor, some oregano and some dried basil as well. So you can just season it up to your taste or use the poultry sausage, and then you don't have to put as much seasoning on there. But again, I'm going to salt it pretty good and pepper. And we're just going to sprinkle just a little bit of ground cumin. I don't want it too spicy, but if y'all want to spice up your food a little bit, start using cumin. I never knew before I started cooking a lot how much I loved it. And same thing, just a little bit of chili powder. And I'm going to go in with the oregano and the basil. I'm going to turn that down a little bit and just let it finish browning and try to go ahead and get everything else ready. Okay, so the turkey is brown and it says to add half of the sauce. So I'm just going to kind of guesstimate here. And it says to add in the 2 cups of spinach, which I'm probably going to use most of this bag, to be honest, because it's going to wilt down. We'll just go in with the whole bag. That way we're not wasting it. I almost need a bigger skillet, but we're going to make it work. Okay, I'm just going to turn that on low. I think my zucchini's probably fixing to be in the oven. It should be just about done. Okay, here's the zucchini fresh out of the oven. It says you need to kind of blot the moisture off of it before we put the filling in it. So I'm going to set that down for a minute and get some paper towels and blot that. I think this is about done. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut the heat off and just let it set here until we get ready, and then we will layer it up and it'll be ready to go in the oven. Alright, so I'm just going to blot out the excess liquid, which zucchini is real liquidy. And this is one of those dishes that looks a lot better in the pan before I actually try to portion it out. So just FYI, it doesn't look that pretty once I put it in the individual containers, but it is really good. Whenever I make my zoodles for my spaghetti, I do try to squeeze as much liquid out with paper towels as I can, but it's still a little liquidy, but it's okay. So I think that's pretty good. And then it says to scoop your meat mixture in first. So I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to try to divide it as evenly as possible. And the way my recipe comes out, since I didn't use, like, you could save a lot of points if you use the 0-point marinara that you make yourself. But this comes out to 5 points per serving. Mostly because of the marinara sauce. But it's still a pretty good meal because I think, you know, it's nice and low carb, low fat. I will pair it with 3 of my garlic rolls, and those are 1 point each, so it will end up being an 8-point dinner, which I think is pretty good. And then this is the egg, half of the mozzarella cheese and half of the Parmesan cheese that I had measured out, and the cottage cheese, which I used 2 servings, which was 1 cup, 224 grams of the cottage cheese. So I'm just going to spoon this over the tops of this, and then we will add the rest of the marinara sauce and then the rest of the cheese.
Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me? Can you feel me?
Okay, so it is ready to go back into the oven. It says to put it in for an additional 20 minutes, and then you can put it on broil if you want to. And then Charlie also has his put together and ready to go into the oven. So here is Charlie's, which he just used those no-bake shells, which sometimes those turn out kind of hard, but he wanted to try to use those up. He did put water on them, but they already seem like they have hardened back up. So we probably should have just went ahead and baked it as soon as he got it ready. But anyway, I'm going to put both of these in the oven together, probably for 30 minutes since they're both going in together. Okay guys, I am going to get these 2 ingredient garlic rolls ready, which I guess really they're 3 ingredients since I'm adding garlic in. But I use 1.5 cups of self-rising flour, which I already have that measured out in my bowl. And then 1 cup of the Chobani non-fat Greek yogurt, which I have that measured out in this cup. This is the one that I use here. And then I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. What I'm going to do is add the garlic powder into the flour and mix that up really well before I add in the yogurt, just so that the garlic is kind of evenly distributed. And then I will top these with some garlic salt and some butter spray. And I use the butter spray also on my hand so that it doesn't stick so much. That's just kind of a little trick that I have learned along the way. So I've got my 2 tablespoons of garlic powder added in there, and I'm just going to kind of mix that up. And you have to be willing to get a little bit messy with these because this is a sticky dough to work with. It does take a little bit of time to get used to. But that's why I started using the butter spray. I literally spray it on my hands, and that's kind of how I roll it out without having to use additional flour. So that's probably mixed good enough. I'm going to go ahead and mix in my yogurt. And then I'm just going to stir this until it's kind of crumbly. Actually, I'm going to move you so you can kind of see into the bowl better. Okay, now you can see. So I'm just going to stir this until it's kind of crumbly before I go in with my hands. Which it does kind of make a mess, especially when you're wearing all black like I am. Excuse me for my mess. I am messy in the kitchen, but luckily I have a wonderful husband who does all of the cleanup for me. He's happy I only cook 1 day a week. Okay, at this point I'm going to go in with my hands, and we're just going to have to get a little messy and just kind of knead it into a big dough ball. Okay, so that looks pretty good. It's just a nice little dough ball. I'm going to wash my hands and get my scale and then show you how I portion it out. Okay guys, so I'm going to spray my pan with just some of this butter spray. And then I am going to use this butter spray to spray on my hands as I roll it out because it keeps it from sticking so much. So that's just a little pro tip. And then I'm going to turn the scale on and see how much this weighs and divide it by 18, I guess, because I want 18 rolls. So I have 515 grams. So we've got 515 divided by 18. So 28.6 grams. So I'm just going to aim for about 28 grams for each one because it always seems like I end up with a little bit less than whatever it weighs out for whatever reason. So I'm going to tear it out to 0, and then I'm just going to take it off until it's negative 28 grams. There we go. Well, it keeps tottering between 28 and 29, so that's okay. We'll tear that out. So every time I'm just going to hit tear and then take off enough for at least 28 grams. And then we should have 18 rolls. And then I will respray my hands as I go along because it'll start to get sticky again.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cut my teeth. I can take what I need to get by. It doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart moves slow, somewhere in the great unknown. When I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again? Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all, I had a feeling but...
Okay, that was perfect timing. The lasagnas just came out of the oven, so we are going to get these ready. And they're going to go in for 12 minutes at 350, and then I do like to put them on the top rack on broil just for a few, well, like a minute. You have to watch it where they're nice and golden brown. So I'm just going to spray the tops with the butter spray. And you do have to kind of wipe your can off because it does kind of get sticky where I've been picking it up. And then I'm going to go in with the garlic salt and sprinkle over the tops of each one. And these are one of our favorite things. Charlie loves these. And I do too, to be honest. I love any kind of bread. It's my weakness. It always has been, ever since I was a kid. That's one reason I wanted to do Weight Watchers instead of continuing on the low carb train, because I wanted to be able to eat bread and fruits and things like that that I felt like I was missing out on. Okay, perfect. Going in for 12 minutes. Okay guys, we are ready to start on the chocolate protein cookies. So I'm going in with 1 scoop of the PE Science chocolate cupcake protein powder, which I've spilled a little in the bowl. I just poured the rest of this out to see if I had a scoop, and I have almost exactly 1 scoop of that left. But I did order me another one, so I'm good to go. For next week or later in this week, I've been eating these cookies like crazy every night, so I may have to make another batch of them. And then we're going in with 1 scoop of the Matrix peanut butter cookie protein powder. If you don't have this, some people have been using PB2. And one question I get asked a lot is how many grams this is, and this is 36 grams for this protein powder. Of course, you would want to definitely plug in, if you use the PB2, to calculate the points. And for the PE Science, it is 33.5 grams. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but I have had that asked a couple of times. And we're going to do the rest of our dry ingredients, which is going to be about 10 grams of the Hershey's Special Dark Cocoa Powder. And then we're going to go in with 5 grams of the sugar-free Jell-O chocolate fudge pudding mix. Somebody asked me the other day too what to do with the rest of it that you don't use. Well, I just keep it and keep reusing it until I finish a package. But if you were just going to make this one time and never make it again, then I would just leave this out, because it probably doesn't make that big of a difference. But I think if you make them once, you're going to want to make them again. And then we're going to do 1 heaping tablespoon of baking powder. And then we're just going to mix up all of the dry ingredients. And then we're going to go in with about half of this can of pumpkin, which there's 425 grams in a full can of the pumpkin. So we're going to do about 210, 212, wherever it stops at. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's 0 points, but that just helps me split it evenly. There we go, 214. That's perfect. And then I will save that for another batch of cookies. And then I'm going to do about 100 grams of egg whites or so, and then add more if I need to, depending on the consistency. Oops, hang on. There's the garlic rolls. I was trying to get these cookies ready, but I knew I wouldn't. So here's what the garlic rolls look like, which they are done. You can kind of see on the bottom. But I am going to put them on the top shelf on broil for a minute or so. And I did set a timer for that 1 minute, because the last time I tried to remember, I didn't, and they almost burned. So I think that consistency looks pretty good. I might do just a splash more egg whites. I feel like I always do that. I put in 100 grams and then I do just another little splash. Which after you make them for a little while, if you really like them, you'll kind of know what I mean on the consistency and figure out what you like best. Okay, that looks perfect. I'm going to go in with my 14 grams of Lily's dark chocolate baking chips. There's 14 grams exactly. Okay, those look perfect. I'm going to get my baking sheet ready and we will get these portioned out. Okay, I'm just going to spray my cookie pan with this baking spray. And then I'm just going to eyeball it and try to measure it out evenly into 12 cookies.
Feeling is all gone. Wait, hold on. Put me together
take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone.
Okay, there we go. 12 cookies, and they're going in for 9 minutes at 350 degrees. Okay guys, here are the cookies fresh out of the oven. They look perfect. They will flatten out as they set and cool, and then I will just store these in the refrigerator in a Tupperware container and then heat them up for 30 seconds whenever I get ready to eat them. And they're the perfect low point treat. I did not add the butterscotch chips to these. I didn't even think about it. I did like that last week. It really wasn't that much of a difference. I am thinking about swapping out the peanut butter protein powder for this other one that I have and trying it, but I might try that midweek and see how it turns out with the butterscotch chips and the chocolate chips and see. So this is the classic recipe with just the Lily's dark chocolate baking chips in there. So it is 1 point for 2 cookies and 2 points for 3 cookies. So anyway, they look perfect. I'm excited to have my cookies. What? You're excited about washing more dishes? On your birthday too, and on Valentine's Day? I'm thoughtful like that. So I just cook my bacon in 2 batches in the microwave. Normally I just do 10 strips, but I had exactly 12 left, so either the animals will get an extra piece one day, or I'll just eat 3 pieces a couple of days. We'll see. It won't go to waste. Somebody will eat it, but I hate to leave those 2 pieces just sitting by themselves in the fridge all week. That way Charlie can go ahead and wash up my little container, which I do love this to store bacon. It holds one of those large packs perfectly. And this is linked in my Amazon store in the description box. And I have tried to cook my bacon in the oven, but it was way too greasy for me. I just prefer it in the microwave. I don't know why. It's drier and I just like it that way. Okay guys, here is the salsa chicken. It is looking perfect. I'm just going to shred it up while it is still in the crock pot because it is that tender. And I know some people like to use a hand mixer to shred their chicken, but I just really prefer to use the 2 forks. And it shreds up perfectly, especially when it's cooked all day. And it's good and juicy and tender. And I have my corn drained and rinsed and ready to plate up, and my beans. And so we'll just kind of let this set here while we plate that part up, and then we will scoop the chicken in and it will be done. And I need to scan in that, I saved the jar of that Frontera Salsa to see if it is any points. But this could be a 0 point meal, you know, prior to adding any toppings or tortillas or anything like that. So, because the corn is 0, the black beans are 0, chicken is 0. The only thing that would be points potentially could be this salsa. And again, I'm probably planning on eating this kind of as a real taco tomorrow in one of my Extreme Olay wellness wraps, because I think we'll probably have the lasagna for dinner tonight and then have this tomorrow, and then I'll have 1 bag of my baked Tostitos as well. So the baked Tostitos will be 3 points and the tortilla will be 1. And I do have some little mini guacamoles to top it with. I probably won't eat the whole thing, but I don't know how many points those are. We'll see how much I end up using of that. But I do like that just to give it a little extra kick. See how easy that shreds in just a couple of minutes? It's been exactly 2 minutes and it's all nice and shredded. And I'm just going to let it sit here for a few minutes like this while I plate up the beans and corn. And then we'll just scoop this into the containers too. That's the beauty of the slow cooker. You just throw everything in and it does all the work for you. Okay, now I'm going to grab my bowls and we're going to plate up the corn and the beans. I have them over here ready. Okay guys, so I just put the salsa into the tracker with the chicken and the rest of the ingredients, and it does come out to 1 point per serving. So this is a 1 point meal the way it is before you add anything else. And so I'm just going to do some corn and some beans. I'm going to divide that out first, and then we'll go in and add the chicken.
It never rains in California. The sun is always shining bright. People are smiling, making plans, hiding behind their shades, and you're doing the same. No rain, no flowers, nothing's growing where you're at. Heart is fire, but baby, I bet you're cold without me.
Okay, so now we are going to swap our battery one more time and then get the chicken plated up. Okay, we got a fresh battery so we can finish up for the day. So the chicken is looking perfect, and we are just going to try to evenly portion it by eyeballing it. I hope this is good. I may pull a little piece out and try it. But I think a point's pretty good. You know, it was 6 points for that whole jar of salsa, so since we're having 6 servings, it ended up to be a point each.
Even when it's 90 degrees, without me, I bet that you can get any sleep in that bed, lying awake. Cause I'm not there beside you, keeping you warm and I know I bet you're cold.
Okay, I'm gonna save that last little spoonful because all the little animals are kind of running around here and they want to try it, and I want to try it too. So anyway, this is what the completed bowl looks like. It looks delicious and pretty low in points. I think it's going to be good. So I think I'm done for the day. I'm going to set everything up and show you everything that we finished for the day. Okay guys, here is the completed meal prep. I have my 7 containers of fruit and my 7 containers of yogurt. Luna is sitting back there eyeballing everything, but she's being a good girl, so I'm going to leave her there for the moment. Here are the 6 taco bowls with the shredded salsa chicken, the black beans, and the corn. That came out to be 1 point per serving, which I think is excellent. Charlie's tried the chicken. He said it was good. He kept eating everything that I left on the spoon, I think, although he claims he didn't, but that's supposed to be for the animals. Luna, you're going to have to get down. Be a good girl. And here are my cookies. Those turned out perfect this week. I just did them without the butterscotch chips. So they are 1 point for 2 cookies or 2 points for 3 cookies. Here are the garlic rolls to go along with our lasagnas. Those are 1 point per roll. We will have 3 of those each night, and I do like to make those small. And I did want to say, like, if you don't want to roll out 18 of them, you can always make it into 12, 6, whatever you want to do. It really doesn't matter, however you want to portion it out. And then here are my Lasagna Zucchini Boats. Those turned out perfect. I decided not to portion those out yet just because it is not pretty once you portion those out into the containers. So the lasagnas are prettier before you cut them up. And there's Charlie's lasagna. It got a little bit dark on top because he put that cheese right on top of his, but they both look delicious. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, my lasagna boats come out to 5 points each because of the marinara sauce and the cheese and everything else in there. And then I will pair it with 3 points worth of garlic rolls. So that will be an 8 point dinner. I don't know exactly how much my dinner will be for the tacos. It depends on what all I eat with it. I'm sure I'll have a wrap, which is 1 point. The meal itself is 1 point. And then I'll probably have 1 bag of chips and then whatever the guacamole is. And then I did go ahead and make my scrambled eggs for the week for all 5 days and my bacon for all 5 days. So again, I feel good about this. I think it's going to be a great week and everything looks delicious. Okay guys, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me for my Sunday meal prep today. I will have everything in the description box for you. I will have a link to the salsa chicken recipe and a link to the zucchini boats as well. And then the chocolate protein cookies, I always have that typed out in the description box, and the garlic rolls. And I think that is pretty much it. Almost any of my containers and other things that you see will be in my Amazon storefront. That is also in the description box as well. And again, if you are new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. I really appreciate you and hope that you enjoy my content and stay with us. And I usually upload 3 times per week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and on Sundays. Thank you so much, and I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks, guys. Love y'all.